upcoming matches have been affected. The Wolfpack looked into changing kick-off times. However, the logistical issues mean this has not been possible, and as a result have reluctantly decided to cancel the broadcast of 3 upcoming games that coincide with Catland Dragon home games on Sky Sports. The Toronto matches will be affected July 6th against Halifax, August the 17th against Rochdale, and August the 31st against Barrow, all 3 home games played at Lamport Stadium. Here we go. The rest of the matches will proceed as scheduled and be shown across the Wolfpack's network of global partners. So that...
It just sounds like Sky Sports won't be showing those games live.
Well, I don't know, because it said the rest of the matches will proceed and will be shown across the Wolfpack's network of global partners. But it doesn't say what's happening. I'm assuming they're not being shown because they're not on the list. This is so the ones they are showing are Featherstone, Widnes away, Bradford away.
This to me shows some of the own goals and logistical problems that we're starting to see with the Wolfpack that we want ironed out, because we want them in Super League. If they've got the spending power that they've got the support base that they've got, we want that team in Super League. So these things need to be sorted out. But interesting and concerning at the same time. But hopefully the US market will get some sort of affordable and value for money Super League coverage to watch, because this is not good. Okay, from that, let's move on to the actual news stories that cover lots of swap, got need. What do we say? Swap, got
need.
Got need.
You did it. You had it. Yeah, there we go.
That's it.
So moving into the news, and Robert Louis has joined. Convicted spousal abuser Robert Louis has joined Super League strugglers Leeds Rhinos in a deal with the Salford Red Devils that sees Tui Lolohea go the other way into oblivion. The halfback swap sees both players initially move on loan, with the pair signing 2-year deals from 2020. Leeds have paid an undisclosed loan fee for the 29-year-old convicted spousal abuser Robert Louis, who scored 26 tries in 87 games for Salford. Lolohea, who's 24, moved to Yorkshire from the West Tigers and leaves Leeds less than a season into a 3-year deal.
So, as people might expect, we had quite a bit of interest in this one. At RhinoMan12345, I think this is more on Lolohea. He said, didn't give him a chance.
Dr. Bob Phillips said, Louis, well, I'm disappointed we haven't redoubled an effort to highlight the domestic violence campaigns we could support. 10 years ago, the Rhinos helped launch the White Ribbon work and need to do this again. Yes, people can be forgiven and change, but need to show this.
Carsten said, Leeds will definitely go down now because of Louis Karma.
John got in touch. Joshua's granddad. Salford needs the cash. Leeds need the proven wife beater. Sorry, meant halfback. So understand the logic. Louis will need big shoulders to carry Myler and the rest of them.
And Josh said, I didn't think Tui was the best when playing at 6 for Leeds, but maybe with Hastings he will improve. After watching highlights of him at Tonga, he is a different player. I think Louis is a strong supporting halfback, and with Hastings is a good pair. I don't think Myler is strong enough, so I don't think this change is going to make a difference. I hope it does, but not too confident. I think Salford got the better deal. Josh, I agree. I think Salford got the better deal too. I'm really hopeful that under Watson and alongside Hastings, Lolohea can find his form and confidence again and show us some of the skills that I think we all know he's got. You know, we all watched him in the World Cup for Tonga where he was playing with kind of happiness and confidence and playing quite well, and we've all seen flashes as well over including that game against Wakefield for Leeds where he scored that length of the field that decided things. I definitely think that Salford have got the better of this deal. So,
and there've been some rumours. I mean, there's been lots of things coming out of Leeds about the camp being unhappy, and there was some personality clashes, and so it might well be he's become the victim of that. In some respects, that he's been the one that's been singled out, and they've used the opportunity as part of that to ship that out to try and heal over that crack, if it's there or not.
I'm not aware of any problems with that sort. I just think he started roughly and never recovered, it seems like. And even when he had good moments or good games, the fans didn't seem to get behind him. I mean, the guy had 9 try assists in the first 6 games of the season or something, but because he was not injecting himself and not running the show and not doing all the things he would expect from a sort of quote-unquote star overseas signing, I think they were never going to... I felt like they were never going to warm to him at Leeds, whereas Salford probably are a more appreciative bunch of people than expecting people that you get at the bigger clubs, which Salford, unfortunately, it just fact is that they are not.
Yeah, and it is a bunch of people because there's only 5 of them, so there's not, they can't be as fussy.
Well, there was a good following. Salford's away following was very good at Wigan. It was about as big as their home following. That's the issue. That is the issue, because I would love Salford to be a big club. I think this next story actually plays more into that angle you were working on, Tim, about someone who maybe wasn't fitting culturally anymore at the club. But Sean Lunt has returned to the Leeds Rhinos in a player swap with Super League rivals Hull KR, which sees fellow hooker Matt Parcells join the Robins. Lunt, who's 32, was to be released by the Rovers at the end of the season anyway, so he's going to end 2019 with Leeds, a club he helped to grand final glory back in 2012. Parcells, who's 26, also a grand final winner with the Rhinos, that was in 2017. He joins the Rovers on loan until the end of the season, and I guess his long-term future is yet to be decided as well.
Yeah.
But I hear more maybe that Parcell maybe wasn't embracing the Sinfield culture more so than what's his face Tuilola here. But we had some people get in touch, didn't we?
Yeah, of course. We had the views of Tom Andrews, who said Sean Lunt has been phenomenal for us, took us to Wembley, stuck by us and brought us back up again. Sadly, I think all the injuries caught up with him and he hasn't been the same this year. Will go down in legendary status at KR. Parcells is a fantastic signing and hopefully the catalyst for us to stay up. Not long to prove himself, though. Well, spoiler alert, he already has, I think.
I mean, do you agree with what Tom's saying, from your Hull KR fandom standpoint about Sean Lunt and what he's meant to the club over the last 4 seasons?
I think he has been very much the heartbeat. He's dropped off. It's really since he had the sickness problem at the end of last year. That's kind of, for me, that's kind of been the end of his best spell. I think he's not been as effective since then. He's not really come back. I don't know if it was a case of because he didn't get the full pre-season, he's rushed back, that he hasn't been able to be as effective, or what's going on, but he's definitely will go down. I don't think he's in, possibly a little bit more measured than I possibly think he's a bit lower down the overall status. I think in 10, 15 years he'll be less prominent, but because it's recent, he will stick out more.
Fair enough. Josh, from the Leeds perspective of this deal, said, I understand why this has happened, but why swap him out for a slower, older player to our relegation rivals as well? And more than likely pay his big wages for them too. Is this a mutual plan to keep KR and Leeds up and hope London go down? Well, at least KR fans have one up on FC with them getting a grand final winning player rather than all the hype about Mahe.
And Joshua's granddad says, the relegation panic starts. Don't understand what Leeds get apart from freeing quota spot. Will Parcell perform for the Dobbins? Well, got to be a better option than Tommy Lee. Oh,
look, Parcell instantly comes in and improves that starting lineup. Whereas I'm not sure the same can be said of Sean Lunt. And with Dwyer picking up a knock at the weekend for Leeds, this leaves him down in that position because Lunt's injured.
Yeah,
which isn't
he's got a toe injury.
Yeah, I have a lot of time for Sean Lunt as a player. He seems like a good guy too. Briefly came across him actually when I was at the Hull KR game the other week. He was brought into the fan bar before the game and did a quick interview. I think his best is by far behind him now, and that's concerning from a Leeds perspective, but it seems like that quota spot was more important. And that takes us on to the next news story.
Yes, Leeds Rhinos have confirmed that they have signed Papua New Guinean international second rower Reece Martin, who's 26, from NRL side the Canterbury Bouncetown Bulldogs on a 2.5-year contract with immediate effect. Martin kicked 36 goals from 38 attempts in his debut season with the Bulldogs in 2018 for a 94.7 success rate. He played 14 matches last season, scoring 4 tries as well, and had added a further 11 appearances this season, kicking 13 goals, although he hasn't been assured of a regular place for the Bulldogs in 2019.
And Josh said, well, the final domino has fallen, and we have come up with a surprise little treat with a second rower that can kick has good NRL experience but isn't over the hill. Still have to see how it goes, but all around happy with this. Yeah, I think this is a decent one.
Yeah.
I think he comes in with some skill and ability, a little bit of NRL experience, not a wealth of NRL experience by any stretch of the imagination. He looked a promising player in the World Cup in 2017, which was the first time he came to my attention at all. So I'd say well done with Leeds on this one. He comes in without huge expectation, so I can imagine all he has to do is be better than Brett Ferris, and he'll be loved, won't he? Because he'll get Brett Ferris out of the team.
Yeah, that's like saying, as long as it's not a fungal nail infection, I don't care what I get. Yeah.
Finally, on the Leeds news roundup, Callum Watkins was denied a Leeds Rhinos send-off by the NRL administration rules, which meant he had to join up with the Gold Coast Titans before Sunday's registration deadline. Watkins, who was signed for the Titans, had expected to play his final game for Leeds against Catalans on Sunday. However, that game took place after the midnight. Well, actually, it kicked off on the midnight deadline for registration in Australia on the 30th of June. Tom Andrews got in touch and said Leeds must have the same admin team that does Wigan's salary cap. Unforgivable mistake. Yeah, big shame for certain that Callum Watkins had to sort of go out the back door, as it were. I was really surprised that he couldn't sign on for the Titans and still stick around to at least walk out in front of that big expectant heavenly crowd on Sunday afternoon and get the round of applause that he deserves for his long and successful career at the club. If not, I've talked on other shows earlier this month, because he's been in the news loads, about how he's possibly one of the greatest talents that Super League has ever seen, if not necessarily one of the greatest players, but he definitely deserves some sort of public appreciation. Hopefully back end of the season he'll get to come over. I know he had his testimonial dinner as well recently, which gave him some some ability to thank the fans and the fans to thank him. But it's a sad end.
It is, and you think could they not have tried to game it a bit by making the kick-off at 5-2 and then playing him then? But
I don't know if it still would have worked. I think he still had to, surely there'd been a way to loan him back for one fucking day.
For an hour?
Yeah. Anyway, it's a shame, but good luck to him over there.
Yeah.
Talking of bad ways to end a career.
Yes. Segway
City, this news.
Props a broad description. I'd say average forward Tauli Matautai has left Wigan by mutual consent after a club investigation into drink driving ban. What do they need to investigate? Been convicted.
I would guess that you'd be looking into sort of the circumstances, what he told the club, how quickly he came clean with the club once he knew about the charge, what the club had discussed with him after that game, because he got concussed in the game that he went out and drank after, what scope he'd been given to go out by the club, what kind of agreements were in place, if there was anything broader than just the fact that he was caught drink driving around the circumstances, because he played the weekend after. Now, I don't know if he would have played if the club knew what had happened, as an example. Do you see what I mean? So I think that's kind of the things he would want to look into. I know what you're saying. It's pretty, closed case that he was caught drink driving. I think it's more how he interacted with the club about it. And I don't know. I've got no inside line on this, but that's what I would think it was the case.
Anyway, the Australian 31 was convicted on the 12th of June after admitting being nearly twice the legal alcohol limit on the 26th of May, hours after playing against Warrington. Tautai joined Wigan in 2014, helping them win a Super League in 2016 and 2018. I think that's a little bit strong. I think he was there when they did. After achieving great success at the Warriors, I feel the time is right for me to take my family home.
He had
He
a
told the
couple
club
of
website.
really strong games in